The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The stars may be different in a southern sky, but the noble gas law applies no matter the hemisphere, allowing us to float amongst the Australian billows looking down at Mount Panorama, today's venue for the Tidal Influence Lotus 49 World Cup Championship. It is round 4 of 12 on the schedule that celebrates the 50th anniversary of an historic race car. And all the action from green flag to victory donuts can be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Good day, mates, and welcome to GSRC's Countdown to Green. I'm Bill Soupson. Back again is our Lotus 49 expert, Joe Peak. Making it all happen is our director, Amjad Yaman. Dougie Beard is the camera guru. Now, if you've brought cyberspace into your place, then over the next 10 Streamy Award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the 18 laps of simulated historic open-wheel racing that will be streaming your way. This broadcast is made possible thanks to Tidal Influence, an ecological consulting firm based in Long Beach, California, that restores wetlands, saves and studies endangered species, and educates children about our environment. For more information, go to TidalInfluence.com, but I know that they're not there right now as they are all at the Long Beach Grand Prix, which is taking place at this very moment. Hey, after 3 rounds, it has been one-man show starring Mick Claridge. The UK driver is 3 for 3 with wins at Monza, Donington, and Mosport. But Joe, we've covered enough races here at Bathurst to know that the real winner here is off on the track, and whoever gets to the checkered flag first is just the fastest survivor.
You nailed it on the head, Bill. We even heard Mick, who is notoriously fast with few mistakes, warn that even he wouldn't be attacking this place at 100%. Mount Panorama is, for all intents and purposes, a street circuit. I know I'll get some debate in the comments, but if you look at this place, the 4 miles of track is mostly surrounded by nothing but concrete walls, and it's driven as a regular road when not being used as a racetrack. Heck, there's even driveways coming off the course with houses nearby. The V8 supercars are probably most well known for calling this place home, but thanks to the iRacing service, you can find all types of cars running on this virtual version of the 23-turn track. And if the name didn't make it obvious, one of the distinguishing aspects of this place is its elevation change. Up and down the mountain, you'll be dealing with rises and dips all over the place. However, the biggest worry for the drivers is probably a track blockage early in the race. But if they can get some space, it'll then be all about who dares edge closer to that super fine limit. But to really give you a feel for just how scary this place can be, let's go on board the GSRC lap guide. Alright, we're in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Bathurst. Coming down to Hell Corner, it's incredibly critical that you don't outbrake yourself into this bend. Being able to get to the power early out of that first turn will affect your lap time greatly as you climb up the mountain straight. Not to mention, a good exit will help protect you from an attack. Now, over the hill, the car tends to pull left if you shift into fifth. Let it bounce off the limiter and shift up after the hump. After that, you'll be braking uphill into Griffin's Bend, so get the car to the left and put out the anchors. Being smooth to the power will pay off since you'll be turning and accelerating out of here. Something easier said than done. Switch sides quickly, and as we come up to the cutting, remember that not being able to brake in a straight line will mean you've got to lift to ease into this double apex corner. Try to really line the car up for the exit. The line through Quarry isn't quite flat out, but swing wide because you'll need the entire track over the rise into Reed Park. From here, treat all those little kinks in the track as one long arc. You'll be feathering the throttle through Frog Hollow and eventually Salmon Park. Just as you come over the rise, tap the brakes and turn in early to get the car to grip through McPhillamy Park. Get on the power briefly, bring the car to the left, and then try your best to brake as the car gets light over Skyline. You'll be slowing and steering your way through these steep downhill S's, hopefully managing to line your car up for the dipper. From there, you'll get another little squirt of the gas across the top of the mountain before you find yourself braking for the frustrating Forest Elbow. The drop tends to make it hard to slow the car up. Just like Hell Corner, the best traction acceleration is what you're really aiming for. We're now on the opposite side from before, blasting down the Conrod Straight. But the Lotus is so fast and powerful that staying on the throttle can sometimes send the car out of sorts over the big crest. Letting off the 80% throttle doesn't really lose you any time and keeps the car safe. Then comes the infamous chase. Tap the brakes, turn it in, then bring the car to the right as you really stop the binders. This is easily going to be one of the most popular overtaking spots. The track rises, making it tough to get back to the power quickly. Once you've got it fully down though, you're heading towards Murray's Corner. The 49 can take that inside curve better than most cars, but for the ideal run, try not to clobber it. Hopefully you kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Bathurst.
Joe Peak taking us a lap around the racetrack, but my job is to take us a lap around the point standings. We're having some technical difficulties, so we're not being able to give you any live shots right now, but we'll have that fixed up before we go green. Let's go ahead and look at the driver standings right now. 9 points for winning a race, 3 races in the books, win them all, earn 27 points, and that is just what Mick I do to Claridge has done. The best of the rest has been Norway's Ove Trengereid. He's only has 1 podium, but misfortune has cost him 2 others. Tied for third, just 2 markers back of second, is the Aussie David French and Brett Reale of the U.S. Spain's Borja Casal rounds out the overlay. It should be noted that after 3 races, nobody other than Claridge has more than 1 podium. Now, the Constructor Cups works like this. For each race, a nation's highest scoring driver earns points for his home nation. After 3 races, the fruits of Claridge's success keeps the UK well out in front. But on the heels of Reale's runner-up finish at Mosport, the USA climbs 2 spots into second place. Trengereid's recent misfortune slips Norway a spot down into third. Australia has employed a 2-pronged attack with French and his countryman Benjamin Zoko. Casal has Spain in 5th. So, Joe, we've talked about the track, we've looked at the driver standings and the Constructor Cup standings. How about we go over some of the series and race details for today?
Absolutely. For those of you not familiar with this series, it is round 4 of 12 that we're on today, and there are no drop races, so you have to show up week in, week out to really make a dent in this. They are, of course, racing the Lotus 49 that ran in the Real World Formula One 1967 Championship. They are open setup, so these cars can be tweaked to the driver's liking. However, with them being so old, they are a little bit basic compared to modern race cars, so there's not too much really that you can mess with compared to what they might be used to. They are doing 18 laps around here today, and that's going to be a decent distance for this race. We're doing about 2-minute laps, so expect this to be a little bit of a long one. They are only local cautions with this being a road course race, so there's no stoppages. They're not going to have any full course yellows that you have to worry about. And of course, with it being official, there's also the incident cap, so if you have any offs, touch another car, touch the wall, or spin your car, those incidents will add up, and if you get 17, you will disappear on the spot. They get no fast repairs in this series, no spare cars. You got to take care of it. Not that really you're going to be able to accrue much damage and get away with it around this track. And just like the 1967 World Championship, they have points going to 6th place in the series. And that's one of the things, as you were reading those out, I kind of like about this series, Bill, is it really feels like the old F1 championships, the way that it's starting to shape up in those points.
It does indeed. Hey, I know you talked about it probably in the lap guide, but let's talk about the layout of this place. Up and down the mountain, probably not going to see a lot of passing there. But come on, Joe, I know these cars aren't draft really sensitive, but even, come on these long straights, there's got to be some type of draft, right?
Yes, much to your happiness, they will have some drafting here. It's not going to be as distinct as what we saw in the first round at Monza combined. You can't be too far back. I'd say within half a second, it's going to allow you to maybe close in for having a go on someone, but you're not going to be streaming right by. And it's going to be really tough. I saw right there a driver that was heading into the chase. I didn't quite catch who it was. Morrison, it sounds like. When you go into the chase, that draft can help you get up to them, but you cannot be too wide going through that kink. You're going to lose way too much time, and it's going to be a danger. So you got to get fully past, and you're going to have some cooperation if you do use that draft.
Going over some of the names on here, looking at most of the familiar names that have been here the whole time, but we do have a newcomer. Joshua Anderson has been able to beat Mick Claridge, at least in this preliminary qualifying time.
Yeah, Josh Anderson doesn't really show up a lot, but boy, he is looking good. He's only up by a tenth, though. It's going to be a very tight fight. The one thing the draft will do, Bill, is it'll mean that it'll be hard to streak away from a guy that's close to you.
Another name that we know from GSRC we've covered is Simon Van Duyn. Let's go ahead and do the grid right now. On the pole, it is Joshua Anderson and Mick Claridge. Second row is going to be made up of Ove Trengarade and Borja Villarreal Casal. AJ Bear, is that what I'm looking at there? It is AJ Bear, like that name. Michael Morrison in row 3. Jack Olstad and Benjamin Soko make up the fourth row pair of buddies there. Simon Van Duyn and Billy Bob Wright in row 5. Joe?
Brett Real, podium competitor, easy for me to say, in 11th from last week. David French in 12th, Eric Ash in 13th. Luke Gomez is going to be starting in 14th position, Daniel Weishank in 15th, Craig Spitzer in 16th, and Jeroen Ursum is back again, starting 17th. Then we have drivers who didn't put in a lap time. Christopher Winton, 18th, Frank Oosterhuis in 19th, Hideki Kovisto in 20th, Don Good 21st, and rounding out the field, it's going to be Robert Reynolds.
So this is the first time that I do declare it has not been on the pole. He has somebody to give him a run for his money right now. Of course, we talked about it before. It's not just being fast here at Bathurst. It's being able to keep it between the walls. Boy, I look at that Dougie Beard camera shot as we start to zoom in. You'll see the drivers little blink on as they take their spots. Man, that is an impressive shot. Look there in the number 3 car, sitting up there in the very front, waiting for it actually to show up, would be Joshua Anderson.
Yeah, and it's going to be a short run to this first corner here, Bill, so watch out for cars still being side by side coming off of there.
Yeah, I actually get confused that I forget that the track feels like that when they get onto that straight, that's really when the race starts, but no, they start in between Murray's Corner and Hell's Corner there. And they will get this thing going here. They're going to have a sharp 90-degree left-hander, and then the skinny pedal goes all the way down to the floor as they work their way down into 2. You can hear the engine start to harmonize right now. There it is. Gather up the chickens. Take cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn here. Round number 4 of the Tidal Influence Lotus 49 Championship Cup, and out in front it is Joshua Anderson.
And David French is off to a horrible start, Bill. He got tipped around down in Hell Corner. We'll get back to that later, though.
We're going to come back and check that a little bit later. I think he got tipped. Might have been a little nit code there with Eric Ash, but meanwhile, up in front, Anderson still out in front.
Claridge
worked their way up the mountain now.
Claridge had a look. He knew he had his best opportunity coming into Griffin's, but he decided not to push it this early on, especially with the whole pack barreling right behind them. Don't want it to go wrong with everybody coming into you.
Let's set your front runners. Joshua Anderson, Mick Claridge. Then behind him, Ove Trengarade.
Luke Gomez has a problem, and he's in the wrong part of the track, and David French day gets worse as he plows into him, T-bows him.
We'll come back and get that one as well. That was Gomez and French. Boy, goes from bad to worse for David.
Yeah, this is definitely not the day you want to worry that he wanted to have. And that's exactly what I was talking about, these opening laps. That was actually Eric Ash that he got into in that accident. It's so hard to avoid anybody if they have an incident in front of you that you need that breathing room to know that you got to slow up before you get around some of these blind corners.
Well, we talked about the true two-pronged attack that Australia throws out there. Right now, Benjamin Soko is back in 8th, so Down Under is going to have to pick up a little bit. We ran down the top 3. Let me talk you through the rest of them here. Borja Casal in 4th position. AJ Bear, gotta love the first name there of that one, running in 5th position ahead of Michael Morrison. Olstad back in 7th.
And Bear is off, speaking of AJ. He's going to get a slowdown penalty, and on this first lap build, we know that is almost a death sentence.
He's going to lose a spot. Well, actually, he's going to fight back. Maybe he's going to have this paid, but it looks like Olstad's going to get that spot right there. Sometimes when you pick up a slowdown penalty on the first lap, iRacing doesn't know how much time you really need to serve it. It can be costly. Looks like he's going to be okay unless he still needs to serve it.
Yeah, he might have gotten away with it.
Might have got away with one. Yeah, I don't think he served it.
This hurt Benjamin Soko, though, who's now got a horrible run down the mountain straight. Here comes Billy Bob Wright. They're going to go side by side. Bill over the jump. This is scary. Whew, they both managed to hold on to it. It's so hard to keep the car steady over that, but beautiful move by Billy Bob Wright. He really saw that horrible exit, and he was gutsy with it, didn't back out of it, held that inside into Griffin's Bend.
Is that one of those places you talked about with me before the race that you give a little lift there to make sure that the car stays straight?
Well, if you do it right, you don't have to lift, but what I do is I actually let it bounce off the limiter in 4th gear, and it keeps the car from getting crazy on you. But if you shift up to 5th, which instinct would tell you to, the car weirdly just like veers right or left when it lands. So just let it bounce and you're fine. You can get some air.
All right, we're looking here at 2nd place, Mick Claridge. He's got his work cut out for him. Now, not pulling away from the leader either. Ove Trengray ready to stay right in there. Nice 3-car battle up front. Claridge is loose. He saves it, but I think he might have. I think he glanced it off the left side.
Ove got on the radio and said, "No way." Did he touch that wall? Let's watch on board. Down through the dipper. Here he comes up to Forrest's elbow. And it got. Oh, it's hard to tell from that angle. I think he got away with just inches, but what happened is when you come around that right-hander before the left-hander before his elbow, you could see the rear started to snap around, and he was trying to collect it before he even got to the brakes.
They continue to run in order. Okay, Joe, I'll keep an eye on the live action here. We're going to go back and look at the replays on lap number 1. We're going to first look at Ash and French getting together. This is right, I guess it was right at Hell Corner.
Yeah, this is the start we're going to see right here, and I'm not sure who he got tipped by. I can't remember.
I think it was Ash. I think it was Ash, yeah. There we go.
Well, no, Eric Ash had the problem up later coming through the cutting. This is coming into turn 1 into Hell Corner. It's that red and white cart on the inside, and you know, that was fair racing from both of them. It looks like netcode from what we're seeing here above. He didn't really touch him. That was a little bit of iRacing calculating them in the wrong place. This is Gomez. Oh, maybe you were right. Maybe it was Ash that had a problem before. So Gomez coming up into the cutting, turning and braking. Always tough on these cars. No, that was Ash that he ran into there into the cutting, and he was unsighted. And then same thing, he's trying to back up and get turned around, and it was just horrible timing that David French was approaching at that time. He couldn't have known that he was backed up on the racing line.
You're really in no man's land there. Usually you say stay on the brakes, but it really doesn't help you there to stay on the brakes. What you want to do is get that car out of here as fast as you can.
Well, before Mick Claridge's incident, I was about to say he's putting the pressure on Anderson, but seems like that's not the case anymore. Now he's really got to hustle if he wants to try and put any sort of psychological battle on Josh.
Yeah, and Trengray just had a horrible run through the chase. He lost a ton of time as he was coming up on the back of Claridge.
Boy, Frank Oosterhuis back in 13th. He's having a nice little battle. He takes a look down into the chase, but nothing doing on Daniel Weishank. Might get an opportunity here into the last corner, Murray's Bend.
That's really our best battle on the track there if we look at Oosterhuis. Weishank up in front.
Oosterhuis really laying it on thick, which is the best thing you can do. It's surprisingly difficult to pass here despite these long straights. You saw that all Weishank had to do was really go defensive, and there wasn't much opportunity for Oosterhuis. So he's going to have to stay patient, really wait for himself to be able to close up like he is here. He might be able to try and tuck to the inside. Here we go. And I think that was a big lift from David or Daniel. I don't know why I keep calling him David.
Either that or Frank has some nitro in there because he blew by him. I think that was just to go on your way. So let's move Oosterhuis up to 12th position.
Wow, I thought it would take longer for Mick Claridge to catch up to Josh Anderson, but our leader is now under pressure from the Brit. Head
down now. Here we go. Yeah, look at this. Now they're down Through Forest Elbow. Now let's see what happens. Go ahead, Joe.
Mick is hustling that car. We saw one more time going down on the right-hander entering into Forest Elbow. The car was getting sideways. I think he's waiting later than I normally do to brake, because I tend to just tap onto the brakes just a little bit before that right-hander to slow it up. He must be getting hard onto them the way it's wiggling around.
You know, I talked about Australia having a two-pronged attack, and I said about Zoko. I'm going to assume that he's not from New Zealand, and that's Joshua Anderson, so there's a chance. Uh-oh! Trangarade has had an issue.
He's going to lose one place. And this is outbraking himself down into the chase as we watch him coming on the front stretch. Here's the replay. This is incredibly easy to do, especially if you're pushing the limits of this track. You're coming into that portion of the circuit so fast. In fact, you're doing roughly through the kink about 180 miles an hour, Bill.
You know, I watched him last time around, and he didn't have a good run there through it the first time I saw him. Certainly not as bad as that.
Well, he stopped the bleeding after Borja passed him, but now he's got Michael Morrison all over the top of him. But we'll see how they handle over the top of the hill. Obviously, he can't streak away too far since he's kind of sandwiched between. But like I said, you can be pulled up to a faster car on those straights. It's over the top of the hill that you really make the difference. Meanwhile, something happened to Winton.
We're looking at a replay he has towed. We'll see if we can find it.
This is coming up to Hell Corner. Oh, and it looks like just gets on the power a little too much and noses into the wall. He really didn't have to tow that thing, though. Unless he tries to take off and it's driving weird. No, he doesn't even give it a chance. Interesting.
Okay, now the leaders have worked their way through Forest Elbow. Now they're down the main straight, the back straight again. That lead's opened up, still under a second. We talked about Anderson, the Australian driver. We're going to make that assumption. If he's from New Zealand, I apologize.
We're also thinking maybe Daniel Weishank might have lagged out because it looks like he is currently scored in 19th and he's not on the track.
While we look at the guys up front, the big battle is really back for fourth position. And this is Casal. Trengarade is really trying to do his best to get around him, and Morrison has also been very aggressive.
So we watch them come up onto the mountain straight here. This is going to be a great opportunity. Look how close he's coming out of there. Now the draft is definitely going to help Trengarade. Let's stay on this, but William Wright got a little bit of a shot in the back because he missed a shift coming out of the chase. What are we going to see from Trengarade here? Is he going to duck to the inside? No.
Now, Joe, these three guys battled in the race that you had to miss while you were away for your competitive knitting championship. These three guys were in a battle. It wasn't quite this order. It was Morrison and Trengarade with Casal watching the whole thing, and that was at Donington. Casal sat back through the whole race, and when those two got in front of him together, I'm talking Trengarade and Morrison, that gave Casal a nice podium there. Right now, it's a little bit different, but these guys have been very competitive all season long.
First off, ostrich rodeo, Bill. Ostrich rodeo.
Okay,
Secondly,
right.
Did I see Ove Trengarade just glance the wall coming through quarry?
I thought I saw that too, yeah.
He got very, very close. You cannot get away with that too easily around here because, I mean, you got the tires there. It's an open wheel car, so the concrete tends to kind of grab them and set the car around. So it's almost like what we've seen in the bootleg series, another one we covered, where you got to keep off the walls because they can wind up climbing it.
Continue to watch the battle for third. The best battle there at this report, it's 1 second lead for Anderson over Claridge. He has nothing for him right now. Claridge with a 5 second lead back to third place. This battle that's going on right here and now. That was coming into his Achilles heel here, Joe.
It looks like he's got it this time. I was going to say that 5 second gap. Whoa, behind them, Michael Morrison gave the that left-hander a complete miss. I think it's because he got his tires off into the grass. Let's watch the replay here, Bill.
Morrison was doing his best to hang in there. Look at this. Where are you going?
Making his own path. But he did a good job there. Thankfully, he didn't really have anybody close enough that he had to worry about T-boning them coming through that portion, and just kind of kept calm, let the car slow itself naturally, and as soon as he hit the pavement, just try and steer it back in the direction it needs to go. Meanwhile, look at this battle continuing on. Tranquilate to the inside this time. Not enough on the brakes, though. With that being uphill into Griffin's Bend, you can brake so much later than you'd expect in this car. Not often you can say that about the 49 Bill.
I bet you must be. I have not been in the car on this. I bet you must be a nightmare trying to brake coming downhill, though.
You really got to play gentle with it. I'm sure the really fast guys, like I was saying, like we've seen with Mick, they really know how to push the limits and balance the car on that knife's edge. I admit I'm a much more timid driver. I kind of ease into the brakes on these downhill curved braking zones that you're going to see here as we come into the S's.
Well, we worked our way through the 1/3 mark, and so far, the track has not claimed too many of the front runners.
Well, hasn't claimed them, but it's brought out the mistakes. We saw Ove, who's usually very fast, make a mistake, as now they come out of Forest Elbow trying to get that power down. We saw McClarridge make a mistake. We saw David French, well, not really make a mistake, but suffer from that. Oh, Ove's got a great run. Is he going to try and make it too wide? Oh, this is so dangerous, Bill. And you can see even Borja is not willing to try and risk it too wide through that kink. He's going to come back at him. Tranquilate, like you said, that is his Achilles heel coming through the chase. Just cannot get it right. Here comes Borja looking on the inside. He's not quite brave enough, though, into Murray's Bend. Hey, Daniel Weishank fans, he's back on track, so his connection problem has cleared itself up, but he's returned a lap down, unfortunately.
Let's stay with this battle down the straight. Then we're going to take a look back at William Wright, who's in a dogfight. But let's stay with this because I think Casal may be able to get a run. Let's see what he does going into 2. Is he going to force the issue? Yes, he does. No, just taking a peek. Now let's assume they stay in running order up and down the mountain. Let's go back and look at Billy Bob Wright back here. This was a great battle a while ago. Wright out in front in 8th. Zoko in 9th, and then they're being challenged by Simon Van Doon.
Yeah, Van Doon's trying to hold on to the back of this. He has nowhere to go at the moment with Zoko kind of trailing Wright. You really just got to be patient when you're in one of these situations and maybe wait for the 2 in front of you to start to battle, unless they're really holding you up. Then you can maybe be a little aggressive, but it's going to be risky depending on where you're attempting to push it.
Guys running in 8th. They are just behind Olstat and AJ Bear. AJ Bear in that final points-paying position.
This I've always considered one of the scariest braking zones, down over Skyline through the S's. You're slowing and changing directions, back and forth, back and forth. You're on the brakes almost the whole way down there. Wow, Zoko looked so confident in Forest Elbows, but Billy Bob Wright just nailed that exit.
We can stay on this a little bit longer here because the battle for 3rd is calming down, so let's go ahead and see how this plays out.
Yeah, just going to stay in line down into the chase. Nothing doing there. Wow, nice closing rate, though, by Simon Van Doon. Wasn't Van Doon a driver in the MWT, if I'm not mistaken?
He raced in the MX-5 World Tour for a long time, did a little run in the Conti Series. So, well, we're going to go out front now. Let's go ahead and check on this battle between Australia and Great Britain. And, of course, we're talking about Joshua Anderson and Mick McClarridge.
Oh, they got a lapped car, though. This is bad for him to try and let him through right here. Oh, Robert Reynolds. He told them to go left, but if I was him, I think I maybe would have let the leaders get a little closer before he lifted, because they wound up catching him right in the kink of the cutting.
Yeah, well, he's got couple more cars to deal with as they're going to be coming up quick. Trengere and Casal are still running in that order.
Thankfully, they don't have any more lapped cars until Luke Gomez, and he's almost half a lap ahead of them. So Josh and Mick can continue battling as they feel. That's if they don't lose too much time to Ove. Right now, they've got 10 seconds, so they can give a little leeway if they want to duke it out. I feel like Mick has finally met his match here.
Yes.
Josh has been holding him off.
Well, I called it false modesty when we heard him in the interview, and of course, maybe it is, maybe it wasn't. If it wasn't for Anderson, Claridge would be running away with this race again. So hopefully we can see more of Josh through the rest of the season.
With 10 laps to go, that's still 230 turns that you can get wrong, though. So, oh, and Borja, what happened to him? Looks like something in the chase here. Oh, the exact same thing of what we saw from Morrison before. If you come in too fast, it's so tempting to try and get in there too hot. And you can see the exact same thing that we saw before.
Didn't do quite as good as job as Michael keeping that car, recovering from that, though, as he's going to fall several spots. Look at this. The car just won't turn with him, though, when he's out here.
Well, it didn't turn in the kink either.
Yeah.
You got to remember when you're in this car, when you're doing 190 miles an hour, there's no downforce. It's not going to change directions. Most cars can take these sorts of turns just flat out with ease because they have so much modern grip. You don't have those conveniences here. Is this a battle or is this lap car? This is a lap car, it looks like.
Well, but now he isn't a battle. We look at fourth position. This is Morrison, and then now a guy seeing the red mist is Casal running in fifth, with A.J. Bear right behind him. I don't know if they have bears in Australia, but there's another Australian driver, newcomer, coming in here. I was kind of hoping he was from Russia, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I've raced against A.J. at this track, actually. I think maybe he just really likes this track because he pops in every once in a while. Although I have raced him at other courses here in the 49. Oh, and something has held Mick up. Oh, it was a mistake into Forrest Elbow. He went in way too deep. Managed to keep it out of the wall. Let's watch the replay here. This is actually a good onboard one, I think. This is one of those moments you see coming down into there, just keeping it out of that Falcon wall. When that happens in that corner, Bill, as we're going to see on board, you start shouting obscenities because it's the car does not want to stop in that downhill. It's so steep.
Now I know in my little MX-5, if I make that mistake, that's a penalty I pay for that entire straight. These big horsepower cars, you're going to pay for it like same way?
Yeah, absolutely. You got a lot of horsepower, but there's still every inch that you can get on the power earlier on that straight is more top end that you're going to have, even though there is a lot of power in these things. So you look at the gap, it was about half a second, 0.7 of a second. It's now 1.5 seconds between them.
Billy Bob Wright has had an issue. He was, looks like, was that in the same place as before? It was the final corner.
This is down into Murray's Bend. Let's see. Oh, did he dip a wheel off?
Yeah, he was chasing. He was coming up on Robert Reynolds. Oh, I think the car got loose on him, Joe, when he turned it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Just under braking, it started to lose it.
Really fortunate for Zoko and Van Doon that he didn't come back across onto the track.
Tell you what, Morrison and Borja, despite their mistakes, are really giving us a great fight here.
So Gasol back up into fourth position.
And this is going to promote Trangarade back up into the podium as well. Behind these guys, AJ Bear, just keeping a watch. Oh, he gets a terrible exit coming out of Forrest Elbow, though. Just watch it how this stretches out between them down the Conrad Straight.
Started off the show talking about the strange stars in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, it has brought out a lot of Australian drivers. Anderson, or at least from down under, Anderson and Bear, two newcomers that we haven't seen so far this season.
The Australians love their home tracks.
They
this
do.
place, Oran Park, Phillip Island here on the iRacing service, you suddenly see a surge in Australian names whenever any series goes to those. They're very passionate about their racing and about the tracks that they race on. They're always so unique, Bill.
Well, I appreciate it because the Australian names are easy to pronounce. Thank goodness the Japanese drivers don't feel the same way about their tracks when we go there.
Robert Reynolds continues to give people directions on how to lap him, doing his best to try and stay out of everybody's way. And to Robert's credit, he's currently 16th right now. He started the race in 22nd, so he's gained quite a bit.
How about a quick drop back to 10th position, a driver we haven't given much attention to, Brett Reale. Had a second place last time out at Mosport, struggling today. And here he comes again. This is Billy Bob Wright. He may be the driver who's passed the most cars today.
One thing I find this car does, Bill, is there's two different types of drivers, I feel like. There's those that are strong everywhere, and there's those that just seem to have a lot of strength at very specific tracks. And I'm wondering if Brett is one of those where Mosport is just his place, and Bathurst is not.
Riding on board with Brett right now.
And Simon Van Doon has some trouble, I think. Let's look at the replay. Oh, it's down into the dipper. Over Skyline. Starts to kind of lose it through the S's. He did his best. He almost saved it.
I think if it wasn't downhill, I think he might have had a shot at it, but the elevation just pushed him right into the wall.
You can't deny gravity, Bill, unfortunately. Yeah, you can see he knew it was going wrong. He was counter-steering, trying to get the car back. And that's kind of why I take my approach where I'm just gently kind of applying the brakes. I'm not really pounding the brakes in down there because I'm trying to keep the car pointed in the direction I want. Well, despite Mick Claridge's mistake, he's chopped about half second off of Anderson once again.
Yep, gotten to the 2/3 mark now, 6 laps to go. I think he's faster. But it's going to be tough.
It looks like it. And we have to remember, with the qualifying, you mentioned that he got out-qualified. They only get 2 laps. And in a course like this, you really have to put the banker in because it's so easy to go outside the boundaries, which in most cases is the wall. And if you do that on the first lap, Bill, you don't get a second lap.
And the downside of not being able to put in a clean lap here is it's so hard to pass. There's no way to come from the back of the pack. Well, we say that, but it certainly would be a tough order. Hey, let's report that Wright has got around Reale. We were looking at that before, so Billy Bob now up to 9th.
Yeah, I'm checking to see where he managed to get that done. Looks like it was coming down the Conrad Straight. He actually came from a long way back down into the chase and managed to outbrake Brett. So I guess Billy Bob showing some of that Aussie grit, really getting himself in there, managing to overtake. That'll move him to 9th.
The paying positions seem to be pretty much set right now, except for the top points, and that's going to be Claridge and Anderson. They work their way around Christopher Winton. Let's give you an interval. 0.8 of a second right now from our leader back to the second place driver.
How about the interval after that? Look at that on the right side of your screen. 17 seconds, nearly 18 seconds back to third place. I'm actually kind of amazed, if I'm honest, Bill, that we've had as many mistakes as we've had and still having all these drivers continuing on.
They've had them, for the most part, at least from the guys running up front, they've had them in the friendlier sections of the course. We've seen the ones that have happened going up and down the mountain that taken out a couple drivers. Certainly Van Doon was one of them.
Fortunately, everybody's just a little bit spread out. At least unfortunate for us. The drivers are breathing a sigh of relief. Like I keep mentioning, you want that little bit of spread to kind of give you a chance to lift, because you do get the yellow flags for the local cautions that we mentioned at the top of the broadcast to kind of alert you, hey, there's a problem. The thing is, you can't always rely on your spotter to be accurate, unfortunately, because it'll say car left, and, well, sometimes there's little quirks in iRacing that cause it to not be on left, or the driver just moved his car. And so you have to lift. You have to give a little bit of room if you see a yellow flag coming up so that you don't plow into someone that you couldn't see.
Before this lead battle heats up for real, let's give a little love to the driver in 7th place, Jack Olstad, U.S. driver, running all by himself back there right now.
Going to at least be able to get a top 10 if he keeps this consistent, so that's not bad.
He's negotiated the hard part.
It used to be before, when this series was really struggling for participation, we'd get, maybe 10 to 12 drivers on an SOF race. I could get podiums all the time. I tell you what, by the seasons before this one, I was lucky to get a top 10 bill. The competition has just gone up because the guys that love this car, that are good at this car, have started to discover it. And participation has been going up, especially with these broadcasts. And it's just been getting harder and harder to really get those podiums.
Well, that's really the main purpose of GSRC's role here, covering this Lotus 49 Cup Championship, is to get a little love, bring a little attention to these races, and look what kind of racing they can put on. And right now, we got a good one heating up here, Joe, because here comes Claridge. He can smell the exhaust off of Anderson's car. He's there about 3 car lengths back.
All right, the British versus the Australians here. What's going to go down? We know Mick is a really gritty driver, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made an aggressive move in some of these final laps. He's not going to get a lot of opportunities.
Boy, he is really quick. Now they start to go downhill through these S's.
It amazes me how brave he is through some of these downhill braking zones.
Here's where he needs a good exit. Remember, he made that mistake earlier through Forest Elbow. Looks a little better there.
Boy, we talk about Ove having trouble with the chase. I think for Mick Claridge, that corner is Forest Elbow. Just could not get the grip out of there, and it seemed like Josh really gave himself a good lead so that he doesn't have to worry down here into one of the best passing spots in the chase.
So now as the laps run down, I guess he's got to hope to be good through Murray and then through Hill and make a shot at it there going uphill.
Looks a lot stronger going through Murray's Bend, yeah. I've always had trouble with that corner. It's a 90-degree bend. You'd think it'd be the simplest thing, but darn it, I just cannot get that last turn right.
So now about 4 car lengths back. I think a little far, Joe, to get there.
Yeah, no, he'll be able to close up if the draft helps him enough, but it looks like he didn't really get the run off of there. Meanwhile, Olstad, I think we cursed the poor guy. Is this on the Conrad Straight? Ooh, he gets it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. The car just... yeah, it must have been some previous damage, huh, Joe?
Could have been... Yeah, could have been some damage. He just pulls it over. Let's see if it was maybe down here into Forest Elbow.
Oh, it did. It was before he got to Forest Elbow. He put the left sides up and crawled
there
up
it goes,
on the wall. All right, here we go. Back live now.
All right, up on the top of the hill. Unfortunately, like you said, it's pretty much single file through here. Oh, he sticks his nose in. I told you he's a brave man.
It's time to go racing. But now he gets down. He'll be strong through here. Let's see what he can do through the elbow and get that drive down the Conrad Straight.
Claridge has always struck me as a Mario Andretti type of driver. There's a famous story of Andretti passing James Hunt around the outside at Zandvoort, and when Hunt took offense to that, saying that, we don't do that around here, Mario responded with, where I come from, we pass wherever the hell we please. So I think Mick Claridge has taken that approach to this, is wherever I can get it done, I'm getting it done.
Good job from Luke Gomez to get out of the way of the leaders. We've covered a lot of the field right now, so GSRC here for the remainder of the race. We're going to focus most of our attention up here at this front battle. Because not only is it the battle for the lead, it is probably, Joe, our best battle on the track right now.
That's the most important one, if we're honest. Everybody wants that W. And despite getting 3 on the trot, I'm pretty sure Mick would like to increase that hat trick further.
17-2 to go now.
Was able to gain a little bit up the mountain straight. Oh, he came way too hot into Griffin's Bend, though. I'm surprised he didn't lose more. It looks like he recovered well, but it just seemed like he approached that way too fast. Oh, here comes Robert Reynolds. Slow up, Robert, slow up.
He came over the mic and got it all. Whoa!
That's not the place. This is why I say you got to wait till they get really close, because it's so hard to time it when they're coming from a long ways back like that. I got really lucky through Reed Park there that Mick saw what was coming.
I understand exactly what you're saying there, because if you slow down too much, you end up being a hidden barricade.
Yeah, well, see, he was trying to time it through Quarry, where you got a good chance to kind of let them by. But like I said, you're when you got more time between you, it's a little bit more of a variable of where are they going to catch me exactly, and he didn't quite time it right.
Well, it worked okay for Anderson, but yeah, Claridge really paid the price there, so now he's got work to do, 1.5 seconds.
I think this was Anderson's savior. Unless there's a big mistake from Josh, Mick Claridge is not likely to gain that ground in 1 lap. Oh, and Borja. Oh, he's a bad spot. Very bad spot.
And let's go to Morris. Oh, you know, that's what it was. You saw it. That was Morrison who just got around him.
Once again, down through the S's, the car just wanted to veer left a little bit.
And look at this. We probably have time.
AJ Bear had the closest to calls.
Let's go ahead. Yeah, director, can we get a... No, we can't. Okay, we're going to go on board with the guys from behind. Let's look at Morrison.
This is Morrison trying to avoid him. Has to go to the outside very quick, which is hard to get the car to turn. Oh. I think he managed not to hit him. And then Bear, Bear was going sideways through the dipper. Wow, great car control from both those guys. Big credit.
So AJ has just been sitting back there just picking up little spot after spot and is now up to 5th position.
Hey, can't go wrong with a top 5, especially considering that AJ started... Oh, wait, no. Excuse me. AJ started this thing in 5th, so he must have made a mistake early on.
Let's stay on 5th right now, because the guy, he must be steaming. Gasol has a real chance to get... In fact, he's going to get him.
Did AJ lift there?
What?
AJ does not look good.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't look good. You know, maybe it wasn't so clean when he got around him.
That's a shame to see.
Meanwhile, we're on the white flag lap, and the leaders have worked their way through the S's right now.
But it's going to pay back for Mick Claridge. Remember that traffic didn't work for him? Now it's going to work for him. And it's going to close it up to under a second. I still don't think that's enough, though.
You can see him. It is under a second.
The nature of the beast when it comes to traffic. Sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it works against you. I don't think this is enough still.
They work through the chase, which has claimed a few drivers this race. Anderson gets it done. Mick is coming. Running out of time, running out of tarmac. One more corner to go. Negotiates the 90-degree Murray's corner. Round number 4 of the Tidal Influence Lotus 49 Cup Championship goes to Joshua Anderson. Mick Claridge gets 2nd.
And remember, the finish line on this is a little bit earlier, so these guys don't have to really drag race the line. Ove's going to take home another podium here. So I think this is going to be our first driver to get his 2nd podium besides Mick. Now he crosses the line right there.
Morrison is going to be able to bring it home. That's making a run is Casal. He's really fast. Morrison brings it home in 4th. Casal's going to have to settle for 5th.
How about AJ, though? He limped that car around despite it crabbing and managed to hold Zoko off.
And there you go. Give him paying 1 point.
Poor Benjamin, not able to climb up any more positions, getting just outside the points. And Brett Rial, after such a promising drive at Mosport, isn't able to hold on to good results to the mountain, it looks like.
And then the only two cars still to come across, Frank Osterhaus and Billy Bob Ryden, and we are confident they will make it there safely. So what we're going to do right now on the Global Sim Racing channel is take a short break, but don't go far, because we're going to be back. We'll run down the entire 22-car field, their finishing order, do some driver interviews, and then close up shop. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Tidal Influence Lotus 49 World Cup Championship. We had a humdinger one here, 10 cars finishing on the lead lap, and for the first time this season, we have a new winner, that being Joshua Anderson. Mick Claridge finds the first blemish on his record, first crooked number on his season standings, coming in second. Ove Trengerade fell back a few spots, ends up finishing in the same place he qualified, in third. Michael Morrison finishing fourth. My goodness, how about Vorjavier Casal? Had a great run up and down the standings, going to wrap up in fifth position. AJ Bear put on quite a show, limping the car home in sixth. Finishing just out of the points, Benjamin Soko, Brett Reale, Frank Osterhaus in ninth, and then the last car on the lead lap in 10th, William Wright. Joe?
Luke Gomez, despite early problems, managed to bring it home in 11th. Hideki Koivisto in 12th, and Robert Reynolds, who was unfortunately in the middle of it, it seemed like a lot, finished in 13th. So at least he gained a lot of positions and things. David French, horrible day for him, finishing in 14th after starting in 12th. I'm sure he wants to forget this weekend. Jack Olstead as well, coming home 15, 3 laps down. Jeroen Ursum had some problems along the way and finished in 16th. Don Good came home in 17th, and we're getting into the cars that did not finish, I believe. Christopher Wynn in 18th, Simon Van Doon in 19th, and Daniel Weishank in 20th. Then rounding out the field, it's Craig Spitzer in 21st and Eric Ash in 22nd.
Okay, we're going to have a chance to talk not to our winner, to the driver who finished second. It's the first one he hasn't won, and of course we're talking about Mick. I do to Claridge. Mick, you took my breath away. Joe stood up when you saved that car. Amjad from his director booth almost knocked his soda over. I think Ove Trengare gave you a shout out. He watched you save that car from behind, and I think the fans all watching were very impressed. That was quite a save you had.
I've done a lot of those this week in practice on that corner. So, yeah. No, it was well 50-50, wasn't it? I thought I was going to spin there.
Let's talk about what we thought was maybe your Achilles heel. Was there were a few mistakes that you made in Forest Elbow. You never seemed to get a good enough drive out there to give Joshua a real run for his money.
No, that's the thing with the 49. A lot of people go on about the tyres being rock hard and all the rest of it, but you can overheat them. And I was overheating them over the mountain there, and especially down through the dipper. I was really understeering from there right into the last corner, and then it was taken. Conrad Strake was cooling the fronts down, and I was right into the next corner. So yeah, just a bit of overheating in the tyres. Yeah, couldn't catch him there. If I could have just held back there a bit and maybe not, warm the fronts up a bit too much, but then I wouldn't have been close enough to do it anyway. Now, Josh is a top driver at Bathurst.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. I'm new to the 49 community, so when they show up, Joshua showing up for the first time this season, it's a surprise to me. When you saw his name, you are familiar with him, you've raced with him before, and you knew he's going to be tough?
Oh, yeah, very much. He's Mr. Bathurst. He doesn't muck about around here. He's had some real bad luck. He's blown an engine one season. Another season, he just got stuck by traffic. So no, everyone knows how fast he is around here.
Well, we stay down under. How does Phillip Island suit you?
Excellent, because there's no walls. I can't stand the walls at Bathurst. It stops me. I hate it.
Oh, I think you have a lot of company there for that one. Hey, congratulations on the second place. You're having a great run. More points for the UK. And are you in the UK? Should I say you're from England, or is it where would you like to say that you're from there?
UK's fine, mate.
UK is fine. All right.
Yeah. West London.
Not from Wales then, right? Because I know those guys from Wales like, hey, I'm from Wales. All right.
Do you know, there's a few people listening now that will be laughing their heads off because you said that, because a quarter of me is Welsh.
See, I know what buttons to push. Hey, congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way, man. Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Mick Claridge. Okay, Joe, who do you want to talk to?
Well, it looks like we got our winner waiting to be brought in, so let's talk to Josh Anderson and see how his race went. Josh, first of all, congratulations on the win. And secondly, how did you manage to soak up all that pressure and still not make a mistake over such a tricky and difficult course? Oh, we're not hearing you, Josh, unfortunately. Might have to see if Josh can change his mic settings here real quick.
Well, tell you what. Let me take. We'll talk to Michael Morrison. I'll take that one, and then we'll see if Josh can get his mic set up there, and we'll go ahead. Michael, you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, congratulations, 4th place here today for you. You had quite a scare there for you. You had to do quite a little bit of a dodge to get around the car in front of you there.
This one, there was a couple I had to do quite a bit of a dodge. There's a couple of back markers that were really rough. I ended up passing Borja twice. I'm assuming you're referring to the one that was in the dipper. That one wasn't quite hit because he immediately decided to do a 3-point turn on spinning out. And if he had decided about a millisecond faster, he would have just clipped me as I was dodging him. And I was able to see the spin happening, so I was able to plan on how to avoid it and pick the right option. But either option I would have chose could potentially just killed me. So I ended up lucking out, and AGA wasn't quite so lucky because he wasn't able to see it happening and ended up running into Borja.
Yeah, absolutely. What percentage would you say are you like? We're coming up to Phillip Island. We were just talking with Mick about there's no walls there, and maybe it allows him to race closer to 100%. How much more careful are you here at Bathurst? If there weren't walls, how much faster do you think you could be?
I honestly don't know how to answer a question, to be honest, because I don't see Bathurst as really any different in this respect to Nürburgring. The margin of error is basically the same, even though the walls are a bit farther away. So, for as far as like lap time to like the fastest people, it's like maybe 0.5% more than usual, and in qualifying, it's actually 2% more because it takes me a while to get up to speed. I actually lost it. I was just out of my mind a little bit when I had to dodge the lap car in turn 2, and it took me so long to get my rhythm back, and I ended up losing a spot to Borja in the process. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's more of a rhythm thing than anything.
Well, more points for the U.S., keeping that team in the hunt for the Constructors' Cup, and then for yourself, finishing in the points again. You got to be happy with that. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way. Phillip Island, a good track for you?
I'll be taking a bye for Phillip Island. So, yeah, I won't be there, but I'll be looking forward to whatever race is after that.
All right, man. Good luck to you. Michael Morrison, your 4th place finisher today. What is our status, Joe? Are we going to try to talk to Joshua? Do we have any luck?
Yeah, the good news is that our intern replaced the faulty mic, and we got him hooked up now. So,
cool.
So Josh, I'm assuming you heard me before. Congratulations, and how'd you do it, man?
Thank you. It was a pretty good race. Mick applied a lot of pressure over the whole race, especially over the last probably 6 or 7 laps, because I went a little too high with my tire pressures. I was really struggling at the end. Yeah, well, I don't know how I did, to be honest. I did make a few mistakes that I don't think was caught on the broadcast where, I locked a wheel, especially into the dip, especially into Forest Elbow. You lock a wheel into there, you lose about 0.6, so it was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, and talk a bit about the lap traffic, because that definitely seemed to wreak a little bit of havoc on how close you were between you and Mick. Were you at all worried, or did you trust these guys that they would be able to let you through okay?
I was very worried. I think it was the last lap. I don't know who it was. I think it was Hideki. And coming down to the dip, he was a bit slower than I was, and I almost rear-ended him on the last lap. And yeah, I was certainly a little bit worried there. It was very, very stressful.
Now, we had Mick refer to you as a Bathurst specialist. Do you think you'll be coming around for the other Australian track we got coming up with Phillip Island, or is this a one-off for you?
Oh, well, I like racing the Lotus 49 at many different tracks. So I'll probably do the next one because I'm on holidays from school now. So I don't know what's next week. I'll probably do it though. Yeah, it's a great car to drive. So.
Well, the good news is you'll still be at home because we got Phillip Island coming up next. Once again, congratulations on the win, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
That was Josh W. Anderson taking our win today, Bill. It looks like you'll be talking to Ben Zoko.
I'm going to let you talk to Ben Zoka here since I took Go
right.
ahead. You can take that one there.
All right, let's bring Benjamin in and talk to him about how his race went. Ben, 7th place. You're just outside the points. Are you disappointed by that, or are you just happy to survive the mountain?
Yeah, thanks, guys. A bit of both. The main goal and strategy for me at Bathurst is always just to survive and pick up the pieces when everyone else inevitably crashes out. But unfortunately, all the guys ahead of me did a really good job and managed to keep it clean and stay on the track. So I didn't gain that many positions. But I kind of felt like I was a little bit more competitive earlier in the week and thought that points were on the cards there. But I wasn't meant to be today, and I apologise for the dogs barking in the background.
It's okay. They're just celebrating your finish. You had some great battles in the middle of things when you were between Billy Bob Wright and Simon Van Doon. What were you finding were the best places to overtake around here? Obviously, the top of the mountain is usually pretty much single file.
Yeah, I had a bit more pace than Billy Bob over the top of the mountain, but I think with gearing, I think he had better gearing or something like that, and I couldn't stick with him down the straights, which made it difficult to pass. I found I was really good under brakes into Griffins at the end of Mountain Straight, so that was going to be my place to pass him, or I was going to try and pressure him into running a bit wide at the end of the chase and into, Murray's Corner, the last corner. That was going to be my other place, but mostly my strategy was to just keep applying the pressure onto him and hope that they would make a mistake, and eventually it kind of happened, unfortunately, for him. With the back marker.
Yeah, we saw the back markers come into play quite a bit during this race. Well, I believe I know actually for a fact that you've got some points in this championship. What's your goal at the end of this season as far as finishing position in the points?
My goal would be to just be in the top 5 or 6. That'd be nice. I don't expect to beat a lot of these other guys. I'll keep consistent. I'll keep picking up points where I can. I thought I had a really good shot here at Bathurst for some more points, but it wasn't meant to be. Wasn't quite quick enough. But you never know what will happen over the season. I'm looking to hopefully snatch another podium if some other guys get unlucky throughout the rest of the season. Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping to continuously, score some points for Australia, and hopefully they'll be in the top 3 at the end of the season.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you come talk to us once again. Commiserations that you didn't quite get points. We got you 8 more rounds to try and rack them up more. That was Benjamin Zoko, who finished in 7th position today, and I believe we might have to wait for Bill to return. He's dealing with some stuff behind the scenes, so let's go through our closing real quick. Thanks to Jack Woolstead and Benjamin Zoko for promoting and organizing the Lotus 49 World Cup Championship. And of course, thanks to Tidal Influence, an ecological consulting firm based in Long Beach, California, that restores wetlands, saves and studies endangered species, and educates children about our environment. For more information, go to TidalInfluence.com. Thanks to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcast, you can see on our screen. Additional thanks to our musical contributors, Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. You can find their music at the websites listed. The next race, we mentioned it a few times, that's going to be Phillip Island. Very different track to this one. 24 laps around that place, and that'll be April 16th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch that one. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Bill?
Thanks, Joe. On your behalf and our director, Amjad Yaman, camera artist, Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. And with that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.